Oh my god, you have no idea. Let's think about this for a second. There's a number of different ways to put a reader character in the Animorphs universe. Probably the most obvious and most boring way would be to just redo old Animorphs books scene by scene, only inserting the reader character in like Forrest Gump into old news footage. Same o, just with you in it too. A slightly more interesting approach would be to redo those books, but since we are no longer stuck with the point of view of the narrator character, we can show all the stuff that happened, if you'll allow the term, off screen. Just take the first book and imagine all the stuff we never actually got to see because we were stuck with Jake's perspective. The other Animorphs escaping the construction site, Tobias morphing his cat for the first time, Cassie and Rachel experimenting with morphing and discovering how to morph skin-tight clothing, Tobias acquiring his red-tailed hawk morph, Cassie, Rachel, and Tobias escaping the security guards at the gardens, Rachel acquiring her elephant morph, the policeman capturing Cassie, Tobias's final moments before getting stuck in morph. It's still telling the same story, but from the B-reel with the stuff we didn't get to see the first time around, and that would give it a certain value to Animorphs fans, canon or not. Alternamorphs number 1 goes for neither of these options. Instead, they put you as a character in the first book, and then make sure you stay as far away from the Animorphs as possible. You literally sleep through the first half of number 1, The Invasion. You're too involved with having to escape your ferret morph to help with any of the spying during the sharing meeting. Everything the Animorphs learn, you learn secondhand through quick little exposition dumps. You finally get to hang out with them when it comes time to get battle morphs in the gardens. That is, until a security guard shows up. Now, you think this would be a natural place to put a choice, whether you should run with Jake and Margot or with Rachel, Cassie, and Tobias. Nope. Instead, everyone runs away from you, and you find yourself alone again. You get a hyena for a battle morph, alone. You get caught by and escape from some police officers, alone. And you go into the Yeerk pool, alone. You don't even use the pool entrance in the school. By complete accident, you manage to stumble onto a completely different entrance and sneak into the pool roughly around the same time as the rest of the Animorphs. Well, at least you get to be involved in the big showdown from the end of the book, right? You scurry behind a storage shed. Quickly, you morph back to human. Rachel pokes her head around the shed. You'd better stay here. You need to gather your strength if you're going to morph again. We'll come back when it's time. Holy shit! This book. The book supposedly designed to give readers the fantasy of fighting alongside the Animorphs literally has Rachel go, "Hey man, relax. Take a seat and chill for a bit. We'll take care of this. Don't worry, we got it. You did good, sport. Take a load off." This is like going to Star Trek The Experience, and instead of having a simulated Star Trek adventure with Borgs and Klingons and stuff, you just had Riker poke his head through a door and go, "Listen, everyone, we're a bit busy, so how about y'all head down to Guinan's and mingle while we get this sorted out, okay?" Did anybody behind this book know what a fantasy was? Because napping through an adventure isn't one. Number 1, The Invasion, is condensed down to only the first half of this book, so Alternamorphs number 1 has a whole other adventure for the Animorphs to ignore you in. Animorphs number 4, The Message, is the obvious choice. It was the next must-read book in the series with the introduction of Axe. So naturally they skipped the obvious choice and jumped right into number 11, The Forgotten. Axe is just there because I'm sure nobody wanted to live the fantasy of being a dolphin, exploring the dome ship, and introducing themselves to their new alien friend. Nah, we're just gonna do the juggle thing instead. Except kind of not, because it might be more accurate to say that the second half of Alternamorphs number 1 is actually a sequel to The Forgotten. You're just making dinner with your mom, minding your own business, when bang, zap, zoom, you find yourself time jumping between your house and the South American jungle with the rest of the Animorphs. Why are these time jumps happening? My best guess is that someone behind this book, be they Kay Applegate or a ghostwriter or someone in editing or whatever, decided that the Sario Rip in number 11, The Forgotten, and the Sario Rip in Megamorphs number 2 contradicted each other. See, in Megamorphs number 2, the Sario Rip was closed by a second huge explosion. There is no second huge explosion in The Forgotten. Jake just kind of snaps into his past self and changes time. So without that second explosion, time is unraveling. I think that's what they're implying anyway. It's never really stated. X just gives the usual about how he's too busy ogling girls to pay attention in class. I don't think this is the worst idea in the world. At the very least, it's something a little new instead of just reading an abridged version of an Animorphs book you've already read. And when you and the rest of the Animorphs wind up in the jungle again, everyone actually sticks together. And they defer to your judgment when it comes to morphing for some reason. Even though Jake is the only one who actually remembers how this all went down. So yeah, this is automatically better than the first half of the book. But it's also a nasty trick. Anybody who's read The Forgotten probably went into this bit going, okay, I know how it went down originally, so I know what to do and what morphs to pick to make it work. Wrong. Anytime you morph an animal the Animorphs originally morphed in The Forgotten winds up getting you killed. And just like every other time you morph in this book, you otherwise don't have enough information to make a smart decision. One ant morph gets you eaten by a sloth. There are very few things I'd be more embarrassed to be killed by. Here lies the sixth Animorph, utterly destroyed by a butterfly. Visor 3 actually does you a solid here and creates another blast for you, which throws you through time. Flash! You're in the front quad outside school. You're wearing a sweater you haven't worn since last year. Ahead of you is the bus stop. You see Patrolman Teeter directing traffic. He retired last summer. You turn. Rachel is back on the steps of school. Her hair is a good 4 inches shorter. She touches it, frowning. She wore it that way last year. You've gone back in time like you should have, but you've overshot your time. You're a year too early. We're back in 1995! Quick, tell Jenny Jones not to do that gay crush episode. Yeah, I don't know. You're back in your bodies from a year ago, before you all had morphing powers, except you still have morphing powers somehow. Marco's mom is still around, but Visor 3 is there. Visor 3 is always there. And he's decided to morph a pit bull to kill you all. I guess he knows you're all humans now, so now you have to morph a giraffe to fight him. Yeah, I don't know what any of this is about. It's just things and other things. But then there's a flash and you're back in the prison. Like, whatever, this book sucks. Do we even want to go on with the second one? I guess, if you want to, go ahead and click its cover. But if you'd rather come over to share a drink and forget this ever happened, click the shot glass. I'll do whichever you want. You know, I think we have something special here, you know?